Hello, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Dr. Robert Mitchell, and if you've been following along, you know we focus on practical, evidence-based information for healthy aging. Today, I want to share something that might genuinely surprise you about assessing your own physical vitality and independence. There's a simple movement assessment that many geriatricians, physical therapists, and researchers use as a powerful indicator of overall functional health as we age. What makes this so valuable is that it's not about being an athlete or having perfect health. It's about maintaining the fundamental strength and balance that allows us to live confidently and independently in our own homes and communities. Before we dive into the specifics, I want to establish something important. This conversation is for anyone who values maintaining their independence and wants to understand their body better, whether you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or beyond. Whether you're currently very active or dealing with some physical challenges, this information can be valuable for you. What I'm about to share comes directly from peer-reviewed research in geriatric medicine and decades of clinical experience from physical therapists who specialize in helping people maintain their independence as we age. But I want to be absolutely clear from the start. This isn't about comparing yourself to others, feeling discouraged if you're not where you'd like to be, or trying to achieve some arbitrary standard. Instead, think of this as a conversation with a knowledgeable friend who happens to have spent years studying how our bodies age and what we can do to age well. My goal is to give you information that helps you understand your current capabilities and, if you choose, take steps to maintain or improve them. The assessment I'm going to describe can be done safely in your own home, requires no special equipment, and provides valuable insight into 3 critical areas of physical function that directly impact your daily life and long-term independence. Let me start by explaining why this particular movement assessment has captured the attention of researchers and healthcare professionals who specialize in aging. The movement I'm talking about is the ability to stand up from a chair without using your hands for support. Now, I know that might sound almost too simple to be meaningful, but bear with me as I explain the science behind it. When researchers began studying what factors most strongly predict successful aging, meaning the ability to maintain independence, avoid falls, and continue living in your own home, they discovered something fascinating. This one movement, the sit-to-stand transition, involves an incredibly complex coordination of multiple body systems working together. First, there's the obvious component, leg strength. Your quadriceps muscles, which run along the front of your thighs, have to generate enough force to lift your entire body weight against gravity. But it's not just about raw strength. The movement also requires what researchers call power, the ability to generate force quickly. This is crucial because in real-life situations, we often need to stand up quickly, whether it's answering the phone, getting up to help someone, or responding to an unexpected situation. Second, there's core stability. Your deep abdominal muscles, back muscles, and the small stabilizing muscles around your spine all have to work together to keep your torso stable as you transition from sitting to standing. Without this stability, the movement becomes awkward and potentially unsafe. Third, there's balance and proprioception, your body's ability to sense where it is in space. As you stand up, your center of gravity shifts dramatically. Your nervous system has to process this change instantly and make tiny adjustments to keep you stable. This requires good communication between your brain, your inner ear, your visual system, and sensors throughout your muscles and joints. Finally, there's coordination and timing. All of these systems have to work together in a precise sequence. The movement looks simple, but it's actually a marvel of biomechanical engineering that requires multiple body systems to function well and communicate effectively. What makes this assessment so valuable to healthcare professionals is that it gives us a window into all of these systems simultaneously. When someone can perform this movement smoothly and confidently, it tells us that their strength, balance, coordination, and confidence are all functioning at a level that supports independence. When someone struggles with it, it helps us identify which areas might benefit from attention. Research published in journals like the Journal of the American Geriatric Society has shown that people who can perform this movement tend to have lower rates of falls, maintain their independence longer, and report higher confidence in their physical abilities. But here's what I want to emphasize. If you can't perform this movement right now, that doesn't predict anything negative about your future. It simply gives you valuable information about where you might focus some attention now. Let's talk about how to assess yourself safely and what different outcomes might mean. But before we do any physical assessment, I want to emphasize safety. If you have any concerns about your balance, if you've had recent injuries or surgeries, or if your doctor has given you restrictions on physical activity, please check with them before trying this assessment. Your safety is always the top priority for those who feel comfortable proceeding. Here's how to set up the assessment properly. Choose a sturdy chair with a seat that's approximately knee height when you're standing next to it. Most standard dining room chairs work well for this. The chair should have a firm seat, not a soft cushion that you sink into, and it should be stable, not one that rolls or rocks. Make sure you have adequate space around the chair. You'll want at least 3 feet of clear space in front of the chair, and ideally, you should have a wall or sturdy piece of furniture nearby that you could reach for support if needed. If possible, have someone else present when you do this assessment, especially the first time. Here's the basic technique. Sit in the chair with your feet flat on the floor. Positioned about hip width apart. Your feet should be directly below your knees or slightly behind them. If your feet are too far forward, the movement becomes much more difficult. Sit up, straight with your back against the chair back, and then cross your arms over your chest. Some people prefer to hold their arms straight out in front of them. Which is also fine. Now, here's the key part. Try to stand up using only your leg and core muscles. Don't rock forward dramatically. Don't use your arms to push off from the chair or your legs, and try to make the movement smooth and controlled. Rather than explosive, the goal is to rise straight up from the seated position to standing. Maintaining your balance throughout. What should you be looking for? Ideally, you should be able to perform this movement smoothly, without wobbling or losing your balance, and without it feeling like a major effort. You should be able to control the movement throughout, rather than feeling like you're falling forward or struggling to maintain your balance. If you can do this easily, that's wonderful. It suggests that your functional strength, balance, and coordination are serving you well. If you need to use your hands for some support, that's completely normal and nothing to be concerned about. Many people need to use their hands, especially if they have arthritis in their knees or hips, or if they're recovering from an illness or injury. If you feel unsteady during the movement, or if it requires significant effort, that's valuable information. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It simply means this is an area where some focused attention could be beneficial. And if you feel uncomfortable attempting the movement, or if you have concerns about your balance or stability, please don't feel pressured to try it. Listening to your body and respecting your comfort level is always the wise choice. Let me help you understand why this assessment matters so much for your daily life and long-term independence. The sit-to-stand movement isn't just something that happens in a healthcare provider's office. It's something you do dozens of times every day, often without even thinking about it. Consider your typical day. You stand up from bed in the morning, Perhaps sit down and stand up from a chair while having breakfast, Get up from your car seat when you arrive somewhere, Stand up from waiting room chairs, rise from your dinner table, and get up from your favorite evening chair. Each of these movements requires the same combination of strength, balance, and coordination that we just assessed. But it goes beyond just the frequency of the movement. The confidence you have in your ability to stand up safely affects how you move through the world. When people begin to doubt their ability to get up easily, they often start making subtle changes to their behavior. They might choose chairs with arms, avoid low seating, or begin to feel anxious about social situations where they might need to stand up in front of others. This is where the research becomes particularly interesting. Studies have shown that people who maintain good functional strength and balance don't just have better physical outcomes, they also report higher levels of confidence, less anxiety about falling, and greater willingness to participate in social activities and community events. Let me share a story that illustrates this point. I recently spoke with a woman named Margaret, who's 72 and lives in a retirement community. A few years ago, she noticed that getting up from her dining room chairs was becoming more difficult instead of addressing it. She started choosing different seats, avoiding certain social situations, and gradually becoming less active. Eventually, her daughter encouraged her to work with a physical therapist. Within a few months of doing targeted exercises, which I'll describe shortly, Margaret not only regained her ability to stand up easily, but she also found herself feeling more confident overall. She rejoined her book club, started attending community events again, and told me that she felt like she had gotten herself back. This story illustrates something important. The physical aspects of aging are often interconnected with our psychological and social well-being. When we maintain our physical capabilities, it often supports our confidence and independence in ways that extend far beyond the specific movement we're working on. The research supports this too. A study published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation followed older adults for several years and found that those who maintained good functional strength had lower rates of depression, higher levels of social engagement, and reported greater overall life satisfaction. This doesn't mean that everyone needs to be able to perform this movement perfectly, or that there's anything wrong with using adaptive strategies when needed. The goal isn't to achieve some arbitrary standard. It's to maintain as much function as possible so that you can live the life you want to live. For some people, that might mean working to improve their sit-to-stand ability. For others, it might mean learning to use assistive devices effectively, or modifying their environment to support their safety and independence. The key is having accurate information about your current capabilities, so you can make informed decisions about your health and lifestyle. For those who would like to work on improving their sit-to-stand ability, let me share some safe, effective strategies that have been proven to work. These come directly from physical therapy, research, and practice, and they're designed to be progressive, meaning you start where you are and gradually build up your capabilities. The first principle is something physical therapists call progressive overload. This simply means that we gradually increase the challenge to your muscles and balance system over time. We never start with the most difficult version of an exercise. Instead, we begin with modifications that allow you to succeed and build confidence while still providing a training stimulus. Let's start with the most basic version of sit-to-stand training. If you currently need to use your hands to stand up, that's perfectly fine. We're going to start there and gradually reduce how much you rely on them. Sit in your chair with your hands, resting lightly on the chair arms or on your thighs. Practice standing up, but try to use your hands for balance and guidance rather than pushing off forcefully. Focus on making the movement smooth and controlled, and pay attention to engaging your leg muscles throughout the movement. Do this 5 times, rest for a minute, and then do it 5 more times. The goal isn't to exhaust yourself, is to practice the movement pattern while building strength gradually. Do this routine once a day, and after a week, try reducing how much you rely on your hands. Perhaps, instead of gripping the chair arms, just rest your fingertips there for balance. The second exercise is what I call controlled lowering. This focuses on the eccentric or lowering phase of the movement, which is actually one of the most effective ways to build functional strength. Stand behind your chair and slowly lower yourself into a seated position, taking 3 to 5 seconds to complete the movement. Try to control the descent throughout, rather than just dropping into the chair. This exercise builds strength in exactly the muscles you need for standing up, and many people find it easier than the standing up portion. The third exercise addresses core stability, which is crucial for safe sit-to-stand movement. While sitting in your chair, practice what physical therapists call abdominal bracing. Place one hand on your chest and one on your abdomen. Take a normal breath, and as you exhale, gently draw your belly button toward your spine while keeping your chest relaxed. You should feel your deep abdominal muscles engage. Hold this for 5 to 10 seconds while breathing normally. This exercise strengthens the deep core muscles that provide stability during functional movements. Wall sits are another excellent exercise for building the quadricep strength you need for standing up. Stand with your back against a wall and slowly slide down until your thighs are parallel to the floor, as if you're sitting in an invisible chair. If this is too challenging, don't slide down as far. Even a partial wall sit provides benefits. Hold this position for as long as comfortable, starting with just 10 to 15 seconds and gradually building up to 30 to 60 seconds. Here's an important progression that many people find helpful. Chair squats. Stand in front of your chair. Lower yourself down until you're just barely touching the seat. Then stand back up. This gives you the security of knowing the chair is there, while still requiring your muscles to do most of the work. As you get stronger, you can barely touch the chair, then hover just above it, and eventually perform the movement without the chair at all. Balance training is equally important. A simple but effective exercise is single leg standing, while holding onto a counter or sturdy piece of furniture. Lift one foot slightly off the ground and balance on the other leg. For 10 to 30 seconds, this improves the proprioception and stability you need for safe movement. As you improve, you can try reducing how much you hold on or even closing your eyes briefly to challenge your balance system further. One of my favorite functional exercises is what I call getting up with purpose. Throughout your day, every time you need to stand up from a chair, make it a mini exercise session. Before you stand, take a moment to engage your core muscles. Position your feet properly and focus on using good form as you rise. This turns your daily activities into strength training opportunities. It's important to understand that building functional strength is different from traditional gym workouts. We're not trying to lift maximum weight or push to exhaustion. Instead, we're training movements that directly translate to daily activities. And we're building the kind of strength endurance that allows you to perform these movements repeatedly throughout the day without fatigue. The timeline for seeing improvements varies from person to person, but many people notice changes within 2 to 4 weeks of consistent practice. You might first notice that the movement feels easier, or that you feel more stable when standing up. Strength improvements typically take a bit longer, usually 6 to 8 weeks of consistent training, but the wait is worth it. Let me also talk about some environmental modifications that can support your success. Good lighting is crucial. Make sure the area where you practice is well lit so you can see clearly. Remove any throw rugs or obstacles that might create tripping hazards. Consider the height of your regular chairs. If they're consistently too low or too high, it might be worth investing in furniture that better supports your physical needs. The timing of your practice sessions can also make a difference. Many people find they have better balance and strength at certain times of day. Some feel strongest in the morning, while others find they're more flexible and coordinated in the afternoon. Pay attention to your body's rhythms and schedule your practice sessions accordingly. It's also worth considering the role of other health factors. Dehydration can significantly impact balance and strength, so make sure you're drinking adequate water throughout the day. Certain medications can affect balance or muscle function, so if you're taking multiple medications, discuss with your pharmacist or doctor whether any of them might be impacting your physical performance. Nutrition plays a role too. Adequate protein intake is crucial for maintaining muscle mass as we age, and vitamin D deficiency can impact both bone health and muscle function. If you have concerns about your nutrition, consider discussing this with your healthcare provider. Sleep quality is another often overlooked factor. Poor sleep can affect balance, reaction time, and muscle recovery. If you're not sleeping well, it's worth addressing this as part of your overall approach to maintaining physical function. Now, let's talk about how to integrate this work into your daily life in a way that's sustainable and enjoyable. The key to long-term success with any physical improvement program is making it feel like a natural part of your routine, rather than an additional burden. One approach that many people find successful is what I call movement snacking. Instead of setting aside a specific time for exercise, you incorporate small amounts of movement throughout your day. Every time you stand up from a chair, make it a mini exercise by focusing on good form and engaging your muscles consciously. When you're waiting for something, your coffee to brew, a phone call to connect, or a commercial break to end, do a few wall sits or practice your balance. Another strategy is to pair your strength work with activities you already enjoy. If you like watching television, do your chair exercises during commercial breaks. If you enjoy listening to music or podcast, do your wall sits or balance exercises while listening. This approach helps ensure that your physical work doesn't feel like it's taking time away from things you enjoy. Consider involving family members or friends in your efforts. Having someone to practice with can make the activities more enjoyable and help with motivation. Many people find that they're more consistent when they have someone to share the experience with. You might practice together during family visits, or even do exercises together over video calls with distant family members. As we wrap up our time together today, I want to leave you with a few key takeaways and some specific next steps you can consider. The most important thing I want you to remember is that at any stage of life, we have the ability to work on our physical function. The movements we've discussed today aren't about achieving perfection or comparing yourself to others. They're about understanding your current capabilities, respecting where you are right now, and making informed decisions about whether and how you want to work on maintaining or improving your functional strength. If you found today's assessment easy, that's wonderful. It suggests that your current lifestyle and activities are serving you well. Continue doing what you're doing, and consider whether there are other areas of physical function you'd like to maintain or improve. If you discovered that the sit-to-stand movement is challenging for you right now, remember that this is simply information, not a judgment. You have many options for how to respond to this information, and all of them are valid. You might choose to work on building strength using the exercises we discussed. You might decide to focus on other aspects of health and wellness. You might choose to adapt your environment to better support your current capabilities. Or you might decide to work with a healthcare provider to develop a personalized approach. Here are 3 specific steps you can take this week if you're interested in moving forward. First, If you haven't already, try the sit to stand assessment when you feel safe and comfortable doing so. Remember, this is about gathering information, not passing or failing a test. Second, if you're interested in working on functional strength, start with just one exercise and do it consistently. For a week, pick whichever exercise appeals to you most. Perhaps it's practicing sit to stand with light hand support, or doing wall sits, or simply focusing on good form every time you stand up during your regular daily activities. Third, consider having a conversation with your healthcare provider about your goals for maintaining independence and physical function. They can provide personalized guidance based on your specific health situation and help you develop a safe, effective approach. If you found today's information helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more practical, evidence-based content about healthy aging. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What aspects of physical function and independence are most important to you? What topics would you like us to cover in future videos? Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's progress, confidence, and maintaining the physical capabilities that allow you to live the life you want to live. Your body has carried you through decades of experiences, challenges, and joys. And it deserves your respect and care. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And I look forward to continuing this conversation about healthy, confident aging in our next video. This content is for educational purposes only and should not replace professional medical advice. Please consult with your healthcare provider before beginning any new exercise program, or if you have concerns about your physical health.